Good afternoon, ma'am. I'm Megan B. Mejia, BS Criminology 3, Block 2. Today, I will discuss the types of delinquents and gangs. Let us discuss the delinquent and gang behavior, delinquency, criminal behavior, especially that carried out by a juvenile. Depending on the nation of origin, a juvenile becomes an adult anywhere between the ages of 15 to 18, although the age of sometimes lowered for murder and other serious crime. Delinquency implies conduct that does not conform to the legal or moral standards of society. It is usually applies only to acts that, if performed by an adult, would be termed criminal. It is thus distinguished from a status offense, a term applied in the United States and other national legal system to acts considered wrongful when committed by a juvenile, but not when committed by an adult. See also juvenile court, juvenile justice. So, what is juvenile delinquent? Juvenile delinquents, again, such factors as violence, physical issues, street life that push a minor to commit a crime. There needs to be an opportunity for the minor to see the right path. International experience divides the crime prevention level into 3 levels. The treatment of delinquents on probation and its institutional ranges from a strict disciplinarian method to a more psychological approach, centering on psychoanalysis and group therapy. The probation officer must attempt to combine authority and compassion in the twin role of enforcer and social worker. This makes the role of the probation officer extremely difficult, while the responsibilities are great. Despite the problems of the probation system, studies have indicated that probation is effective in a majority of all cases. There are examples of possible to make a delinquent behavior. First, issues associated with family. A family, especially parents, plays a big role in the development of the child adolescent. Issues associated with family can be one of the risk factors. These issues can be economic, social. In Georgia, with the increasing number of immigrants, rises the number of minor self without a parent. For grandparents of other caregivers, sometimes it is challenging to pay attention and supervise these children so they do not end up in an unfavorable environment. Improper surroundings may push a child adolescent to commit a crime. The causes of committing a crime can be domestic violence, parental indifference, and their bad habits. Violence breeds violence. Often potential perpetrators are the victims of violence. Individuals may confront violence in a variety of social settings. In family, school, children who have experienced violence are most likely to have infrequent relationships with adults, cannot communicate with their peers, and become biased to prove themselves. They link their fate to a criminal environment. Next, imitation. A human being goes through several stages of social development, among which childhood and adolescence are important values, patterns of behavior, and motives are forming in childhood age. At this stage, family and parents play an important role in a person's life. Further, in adolescence, people try to define their own identity, try to establish themselves, and often the influence of parents is replaced by the influence of peers and friends. Hence, and often the influence of parents, the reason for juvenile delinquency can become imitation. They can follow the example of family members who engage in criminal behavior, peers prone to committing criminal acts, the so-called authorities who push children to commit crimes. Unfortunately, the remains an idea of the so-called good boy and thief in law, and the authorities associated with them. This mentality is still propagandized within juveniles, where crime is considered as a norm. Teenagers have chosen a similar path that increasing the risk of committing a crime by them. Next is psychological issues. Poor socioeconomic status, indifferent attitude of parents, feeling of inferiority, lack of attention, and many other reasons can lead to various types of psychological issues in children and adolescents. For example, depression, fears, and complexes excessive aggression. This can be provoke the minor to commit a crime. Next, strict children. The problem regarding homeless children remains a serious concern. Children living on the streets due to poor economic and social conditions can be considered as one of the risk groups, as they are homeless children who see hooliganism as the only way of their existence. According to Georgian legislation, legal prosecution does not apply to children under the age of 14, which can lead to impunity syndrome in minors. This means that a minor, knowing there won't be a punishment for a crime, may reoffend. Adults on the street use this situation to their advantage, and there are cases when relatively grown up and experienced children force the younger ones to commit crimes knowing that they can avoid the danger. Lesson learned to delinquent and gang behaviors. Many studies analyzing delinquency, the crime patterns in cohorts, show that any given group contains a relatively small number of repeat offenders who commit a disproportionately large number of crimes. This chronic offender group, 80 approximately 8%, is responsible for more than half of the offenses committed, including a large portion of homicides, rapes, robberies, and aggravated assaults. Although the road to a chronic chemical career is highly complex and defies simple explanation, the studies agree on the following points. These overall topics can benefit my chosen course, Criminology, on how to handle a juvenile delinquent cases. and to approach a child in conflict with the law, and what's the proper process.